Hello viewers, welcome to the Recap Room, your home for epic stories, iconic scenes, and non-stop entertainment. Press the like and hit the subscribe button, and dive into the world of movies like never before. The Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 6 Ending Explained. While several significant events have occurred in the closing moments of the Gilded Age Season 3, none have been as surprising as the conclusion of Episode 6. Bertha Russell and Gladys Vere appeared to be making amends after the conclusion of the Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 5, but their victory was swiftly eclipsed. This season, the protagonists of the Gilded Age have seen greater upheaval than ever before. The series has demonstrated that everything can go wrong, from George Russell's business issues to the power struggle within the Van Rhijn household. The last two episodes of the Gilded Age Season 3 will now have a lot of ground to cover for each character following the surprising conclusion of Episode 6. Did the Gilded Age really just kill off John Adams? Although he has never been a very significant character, John Adams had a significant role in Oscar Van Rhijn's story. Because of this, it was somewhat shocking when he was struck by a horse and carriage at the conclusion of Episode 6. It wasn't clear from the experience whether he was dead or alive because he was lying on the ground and not responding. This is utterly unusual for the narrative, as no character in the Gilded Age has ever really met a brutal end before. Put another way, Season 3 of the Gilded Age keeps demonstrating that it is willing to be more chaotic than before, even though it may be required to avoid being monotonous or repetitious. Additionally, the show might decide to back off, as it frequently does at the last minute, and leave Episode 7 open with the revival of John Adams. He still does business with Oscar, after all. But regrettably, John Adams will only be the latest victim of the "bury your gaze" cliché if the Gilded Age decides to murder him. George Russell's former ally may spell doom for his company. In Season 3 Episode 5 of the Gilded Age, George Russell sacked his longtime secretary Clay, demonstrating his increased recklessness. Mr. Clay went beyond George Russell's tolerance for being told what he can and cannot do. Clay is now seeking retribution, and he is fully aware of how to obtain it. After their joint business meeting, Clay tells Risley Sage that he has worked for George for so long that he knows exactly where the bodies are buried. This is made evident right away since, the next day, a newspaper article using Clay's material is already drastically reducing George's business chances. In Season 3, George Russell's business endeavors have proved dangerous. After he persuaded the Merricks to sell him the controlling stake in the Illinois Central line, things appeared to be improving somewhat in the first half of Episode 6. However, the conclusion left George in a worse situation than before, with no obvious way out. Gladys is finally becoming the Duchess she needs to be. In Season 3 of the Gilded Age, Gladys Vere has not had an easy time. She wept when she married Hector, Duke of Buckingham, in Episode 4, and his obnoxious sister, Lady Sarah, was already bullying her in the following episode. Gladys finally gets the story she deserves in the Gilded Age, Episode 6. In Episode 6, Bertha Russell travels to England to make amends for her daughter's marriage after writing to her parents about how unhappy she is at Sidmouth Castle. Although Bertha is not a very good mother to Gladys, she is very good at obtaining what she wants, and Episode 6 depicts her teaching Gladys how to do so. It was entertaining to watch them enrage Lady Sarah more and more, but their bonding in the episode does not make up for what Bertha has done to Gladys. Watching Gladys enjoy her new title and authority to the fullest was the episode's high point. Gladys, not Sarah, is the Duchess and head of the household. Why Marion Brooke decides to end her engagement, again, I had hoped that Season 3 would steer clear of Marion Brooke's marital issues, which have surfaced in every season of the Gilded Age so far. Throughout the season, she has maintained a close friendship with Larry Russell. Before he left for Arizona, the young couple even got engaged. However, everything changes in Episode 5 when she finally finds out about Larry's trip to the Haymarket. When Marion learns from Oscar that Larry was only there for one of his friend's bachelor parties, the place's notoriety and the presence of prostitutes are enough to make her lose her mind. In actuality, Larry did nothing improper while in the Haymarket, though perhaps he ought to have told Marion the truth about his destination. To give them both closure for that Season 2 story, he even located Maud Beaton and informed Oscar about it. Marion and Larry are unable to discuss the matter face to face because Larry has just arrived in Arizona and needs time to explain himself. Perhaps as a result of having been burnt twice, Marion panics and calls off the engagement when she might have simply sent him a note or waited for him to come back to truly have that conversation. Jack Trotter says his goodbyes to the Van Rhijn household. Since Season 2, Jack Trotter's alarm clock narrative has continued, and the inventor has achieved great success. In fact, his success has made him richer than his employers, the Van Rhijns. Jack became extremely wealthy after receiving $300,000 for his clock patent. Jack has spent his entire life working, so he is unsure of what to do with that sum of money and is reluctant to leave the Van Rhijns. He points out that they are the only family he has ever known, which makes sense. Even though Ada Forte has a very sympathetic stance, she nevertheless demands that he go. Oddly, she tells her family that he must have decided it was time to move on after he departs the following morning without mentioning that she dismissed him. Ada might be feeling a little bad right now, especially because Jack left money for the house's residents, confirming his status as one of the most morally upright personalities. Thanks for watching. For more updates, like, share, and subscribe to my channel please.